What's up, wrestling fans? We are back again. This is Discuss Impact, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. I'm Jason here with my co host Gary, the Horror King. Damn, I hit his screaming noise too soon, but there you go. Gary, I don't know if you heard this, but Impact Wrestling just announced that Rosemary will be walking. I forget exactly. You should probably pull up the tweet, but something involved with the latest Scream movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it,
I seen I don't know what you want to call it, the graphic there of it, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know where they're going with it, like in terms of like if they're actually having any like rub from it, like they get money from it, but it's pretty cool to see. I'm just kind of not really all on board with this new Scream, just because I kind of feel like it's copying one of my favorite sequels in the Friday the 13th series with Jason Takes Manhattan.
well, I don't mind. I kind of like the idea, but I don't know. Screw them for effing over Nev Campbell. If that
Oh
is
yeah,
true, I mean, maybe it ends up Nev Campbell is the killer, which I think would be pretty sick. Like, fuck all
yeah,
these
I could
movies.
do that.
Like, she just went crazy after all the movies, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
that could totally happen just because, like, the chances are like they could be swerving people into thinking she's not a part of it.
Yeah, it kind of just hit me like it would be a wrestling kind of swerve. But we're not here to talk about that. I mean, although this is the Horror King, and that is a horror related thing Impact is doing. So
It's
nice
pretty.
job there. We can tie things together. And so we were talking before we started, and this was a really good episode of Impact. But there's also big news out there that Taya Valkyrie is going to be leaving. And this is what, a few months after Tasha left. So the once incredible and what I thought, and I think many thought, was the best knockouts women's, what do you want to call it, women's division in wrestling is no longer that. I'm sorry, it's just not. I've watched. I mean, just look at WWE, NXT. God damn it! It's just I'm disgusted to even say Ring of Honor, which they died. They are dead, and they came back to life, and they have a deeper roster than Impact. Sorry, Gary. Am I wrong?
No, no, totally. But I also see a negative in all of this as well on another front. It's like it seems like the knockouts tag is the whole division being part of Impact is not a perfect fit. Just because we don't really, like you have mentioned, don't have enough tag teams, and maybe ditch that for a little while and just focus on the knockouts, and then like you would open up some tag teams, like you could have her facing like AK, was it AK-47 or what was her name? Allison.
Yeah, the Hex,
Yeah, like
who
you could have
came in.
one encounters, but the problem is right now you just have them and Death Dolls. You know what I mean? Like it's just really super thin. I've tried telling people this, that I feel like the knockouts main event scene really isn't really, Mickey's been mowing them all down, and I mean, you do that too often, and then this is a problem you're going to run into.
Yeah, well, I've said before, the booking of Masha is some of the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life when it comes to wrestling. But before we get into that, I have to mention not only have I watched almost every single episode of Impact for like the last, I don't know, 5, 7, whatever it is, years, I reviewed them on multiple channels. You can go back. This channel, I don't know how far many years it goes back or whatever, but I had things like calling all Impact fans and like all kinds of stuff, like just like Mark, if you want to call me, like, because I was the biggest Impact Mark, and I was called that, and I wore it proudly because I thought Impact was, and it was. I think it was a very good promotion when a lot of people didn't realize it. So I was totally good being called an Impact Mark, but I'm not a sucker that's going to eat shit and call it steak because it's being served by my favorite restaurant. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Oh,
ratings and viewership have never been worse. They're on the same network. People blame the network. It's the same goddamn network. They're going down. They've been going down like almost monthly, definitely yearly. I pointed that out on whatever, but you can check it out. Look at the yearly viewership. They went from they used to get 250. They got 250 a few times. 250K on access, and now they're struggling to get 100.
Well,
Go ahead.
the thing is, like early on, it was a legitimate reason why they were going down for a little while. They were being moved around tier to tier on different cable lineups,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense. But as of late, you can't really use that argument no more because they've kind of been a mainstay, and like any cable outlet that I've ever seen, they pretty much have access. And I get one of the lowest packages right now on my cable lineup, and I have it. But my problem with the way the status quo is with Impact right now with the ratings, I think the whole idea of putting everything on YouTube is also kind of killing their mojo for ratings on access, because I think everybody's paying that $1.99 a month or that $7.99 for the Ultimate Insiders, and you can watch all that stuff on YouTube. And I think that's kind of like killing some of the viewership because people will watch when they want to. You know what I mean?
Well, that would be a good way of killing viewership, I think. I don't know if that's the case, but hopefully, I mean, that could definitely be a thing. The YouTube stuff,
I don't know a lot about it. I just know, like,
I know it's stupid. I kind of compare it to like a podcast. Like,
yeah,
let's say us, for example, like our views went down when we moved to podcast places. Like, just for anyone listening, we were only on YouTube, and then we went to like, now we're on like, I don't know, 80 different, like probably every podcast app you can find, we're on. So, like, sure. But on YouTube, we're still kind of the same, you know? So,
yeah.
I know it's probably a bad example because it's us, but I don't have another good example of numbers.
Well, I mean, we don't know have all the numbers. We don't really know how much all that kind of affecting it, you know. But I mean, it's a lot of speculated stuff that, you know, it does need to be addressed if we want to get the numbers back up to where even.
And
if,
I hate talking ratings, but 0.001 is really, really bad. So, like, they got to get out of there.
Oh yeah.
They got to fix. They got to do something, and they need like a, I don't know, like what's the big, like you said, like what's the hook right now? This was a really good show.
They just don't have anything meaty for the heavyweight champion. I mean,
the Bullet Club beat Motor City Machine Guns. That was awesome.
Yes,
but like
that was beautiful.
But who are you excited to see the Bullet Club face in the stacked tag division? Go ahead.
There's nobody that can.
Sorry, Gary. Go ahead. Start running down the tag teams. Go right ahead. Whenever you're ready.
The only thing I can see is if we bring from abroad, like from maybe New Japan, or maybe Tony lends us some talent on the, like maybe FTR for some reason.
I
don't really see any of that happening. Maybe New Japan, but not the other.
Well, but I think best case scenario would be Motor City Machine Guns and Bullet Club just wrestle like 50 times this year, kind of like Lucha Brothers and LAX, like when they just basically carried the Impact for like a year.
Yeah, kind of like Scott Steiner and Booker T when they had that was a best 4 out of 7.
Yeah, but I mean, hell, they make the shit even longer with these two because, I mean, if they don't have any other tag teams, like, I don't want to see Heath and whoever else, but whatever. I mean, the Bullet Club winning was awesome. We all wanted to see that. I think most fans, they finally got their big win, and I mean, I kind of see them as stars already, but then you got to worry, like, okay, well, are they going to stick around?
Well, I did see something interesting to break. I don't know if we might see him back at Impact. I see David Finlay join the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I'm not trying to keep up with the Bullet Club with people leaving and having matches and
for the Bullet Club. His look too. Yeah, he had like.
Is Jay White gone?
That's what they said he had left, but then I don't know. It kind of feels like he's going to show up, just about anywhere at this point, whether it be down there or up north.
I'm also going to mention PCO. Because I was just going to say, like, what the hell did I have going that's long-term, that's cool? And my answer is PCO. He is, like, I can't, we both agree. We can't say enough about this guy. Again, he just posted his, like, intro on Instagram. Like, he does like, everything. And it seems like he just loves it. And he's, like, this really old dude. He gives everything. He's such an interesting-looking character. Everything about him is great. Here he's fighting Trey Miguel. Eddie interferes. So, like, I'm totally cool with that. Ongoing Eddie PCO. That's, like, a big, cool story. I'm sorry, it's not big. It's not big. It's a cool story.
No, but I mean, it's far more interesting than what they're doing with the walking weapon. I love the walking weapon. They just do not have nothing meaty for him to be. It just seems like they have him linger backstage, which is a pure shame because it's like I'm sure he'd like a good long match, or and it doesn't always have to be for a title. Why
I
can't
think
he?
I think we mentioned, or I mentioned last week, he just never wrestles. He doesn't wrestle on Impact
No,
in singles matches. Like, it's insane.
it's got to
He
be driving him crazy, not really getting nothing to do.
he's wrestled one, I believe, singles match on Impact in 2023, and I could be wrong about that. It might have been on a special. It might be zero. He might have just wrestled in 6-man tags,
Yeah.
and I think he was in a mixed tag match, but whatever. Point is, he's the champ, and he's a goddamn, like, his thing. He's a fighting champion kind of guy. He should be like,
I
sure.
mean,
It doesn't have to be. It could be like that Ring of Honor kind of thing where you got to like beat the champ to get a shot against the champ. I'm not a huge
I mean,
fan of that, but
could you imagine the WWE if, say, Hulk Hogan wasn't on the show each and every week, or
oh yeah,
be
exactly.
back in?
I mean, Roman Reigns starts every goddamn SmackDown almost.
Yeah, he starts the shows. I've seen.
So he's the goddamn man, and that's who the show revolves around. But like with Josh, it's like he's
improved, but mind you, too, I have noticed he's gotten a lot better than he used to be.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, he is. But I mean, Josh, like, they don't really. They just had like a cool video about him. It's on YouTube. You can check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Like the diary thing, he's like a great family guy. He's a great wrestler, but that doesn't have shit to do with like a wrestling character to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta give him. I mean, I know there's a problem of, like, some people say he's very wooden. I kind of see that to a degree, but I think you have to give the man something to kind of break out of that mold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they're throwing like
They don't
wrestlers. They're throwing. They have no one. Well, a big problem is they haven't booked anyone to the point where they should be in a ring with him. Like Macklin, I mean, like we talked about Macklin so much, how he was getting like he'd win, then lose, then win, then lose, and I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be Josh, so it's gonna be the same shit again. And like, who's next? I don't even know.
Well, part of me was like, I thought they might put the belt on Macklin, but like, you kind of got me thinking maybe they're not gonna, do it quite yet. Maybe by the end of the year, maybe, but not this time around. Like, I don't know. And in this big story with Roman Reigns holding the belt for over 900 days, I mean, a lot of wrestling promotions will follow suit and they'll give their champ that long reign. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just kind of the way wrestling is. They carbon copy each other a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't impress me that much. A really long reign. I mean, what impresses me is being interesting. Again, I thought Moose was a more interesting champion. Just going back to the last champion.
And that would be very fair.
I mean, we had Omega, who was probably prime Omega, I believe, in Impact in terms of character, not wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he's wrestled better elsewhere, but like, he was a really fun character. We had him in the goddamn Bullet Club, and not the Bullet Club. What the hell are they called? The friggin' Young Bucks. But weren't the Elite all together, like in an Impact thing in the whatever it was? Like, what was that? A year ago? 2 years ago?
They were, or it was kind of like they ran it over from like Impact. Like, they kind of were trying to weren't they trying to like write the storylines kind of like so they would coincide?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what happened there. I believe Tony kind of, I don't know, just used and abused them. I think he popped in, he wanted to work with them, and maybe he saw like it would be better if I just waited a little and, I can have all of it. I don't know. I think that's kind of what totally made up. That's made up in my head, but I don't know. That's kind of what I see. Just checking out the matches here. Not much female stuff other than
The backstage exchange.
My ambulance is finally here. Thank God. This heart attack has been going on for about a half an hour now. Yeah, so they had the Mickey. She came out talking about.
Yeah, she's in the ring, and then Giselle came in and interrupted her along with Savannah.
Yeah, so that's a thing. Gail makes the match, and that is for next week, I believe. And
Yeah, Thursday. Yep.
the winner faces Jordan Grace. And I gotta I'm trying to picture Jordan Grace. If anyone hasn't seen Jordan recently, go click on her Instagram, Twitter, whatever you have. She's in a bodybuilding competition. I think it's coming up next month. So,
Speaking of Jordan Grace,
it's a birthday.
Yesterday, right? Was it her birthday?
Yeah.
Today.
Happy birthday, Jordan. Either yesterday or today.
27.
Yeah, whichever it was. But I mean, she is so insanely jacked. Like, I don't know who to compare it to. I've asked people, and they've said there's no one to compare it to. Like, there's never been a woman wrestler like this before.
Yeah, and the only one I can think of is anyone close to her is like a China.
Yeah, maybe China. But I mean, and the fact that she can do what she can do in the ring at that size, like.
And then China could never do a lot of stuff that Jordan.
Like, it's insane. And you're going to put her against Giselle, who is like really tall and really thin. Like, it's just going to be ridiculous looking to me. So I don't know. Hopefully Mickey wins there. Mentioned the PCO Trey thing.
What I don't like about that, though, I'll be glad if she beats Giselle. But what I ain't gonna like though is if Jordan faces her, more than likely they're gonna still keep the belt on Mickey.
I was gonna say I think Jordan wins that one, but
you do think that?
Well, I think Mickey is. I don't know. I think they'll build it up for the next pay-per-view, which will be what, after Sacrifice, Bound for Glory.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Slammiversary?
Huh?
Slammiversary? What will be the next pay-per-view? Like, not counting specials.
Yeah, I would think it'd be Rebellion, I believe, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I could see a title. I could see a title change there. I mean, even the Mickey stuff. It's like, I don't know. I feel like it was hotter. Like.
Well, did you ever catch that when the last time when Jordan and Mickey faced each other for the title, when Mickey won it for the first or won it?
Yeah, I'm sure we reviewed it.
No, but I mean, did you notice her tapping? I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't see that in the match.
I figured they would have used that by now. If she didn't know.
Yeah, they use it, but the thing is, I never noticed that. The day it was like they kind of like emphasized it. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of weird. Yeah. It came out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming.
Gotta say, this made me laugh from the 411 review. Hall this week did it about the Brian Myers Hendry thing. Just he was like, why is this still going? Hendry beat Moose twice now. Like, it's true. I mean, like, Moose has to, like, I don't know. I would hope he moves on to something else. Like,
well, did you see Joe Hendry sent out a tweet to Sega?
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean,
he wants them to make a figure that for Dreamcast, and you can use that as a weapon for the figure.
Yeah, did you see? It got over 1 million views or something, 1 million tweets, whatever the hell it was. It got 1 million something.
Oh yeah, for that clip of
Hendry using the Dream. Yeah, Hendry using a Dreamcast on Moose at the that stupid combat match that we thought would be stupid, but was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it's been damn successful. Like that's what Impact's always been good at, like the gimmick.
That match probably has the most buzz still coming out.
Yeah, it surprised me.
Amazingly. I mean, give it to that dude, man. That's I mean, he's going far and beyond. You know what I mean?
Well, going into it, we were talking. We just thought it was very like a kind of a stupid idea, and then we come up with it. It's just like it's been well embraced. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, you look it on paper or see it, and it comes out much better when you actually watch the match or whatever. So I mean, and that's usually how I feel about everything. So I don't worry too much about Impact, but. Like losing Taya, losing Tasha, like, that's just like two gut punches, I never really worry about the men too much because there's so many dudes out there they can bring in.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, great female. I mean, Taya is one of the best in the goddamn world, and I was pissed. Like, I remember I kept saying, like, why are they using her this way? Like, why is she a joke? And we talked about that. Like, maybe they knew she was leaving. That's why.
Well, I heard a rumor. There is some question, too, if Taya has actually been looking inspired in the ring, which I don't blame her because I do think the booking has not helped her character at all. But she's come off like she's very, like, has her mind somewhere else. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've noticed that. And somebody said they think it's because she was caught by the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and she's kind of been fickle about
Gotta
wrestling.
Gotta mention before I forget, if she does go back to WWE, I want everyone to look up. Sorry, I know not everyone's going to do this, but there's a tweet out there from her where she just blasted, she blasted fans for supporting WWE. So I just want, you can look that up. That's a tweet from her. Got
Never
got a lot of it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just never seen that. That's interesting.
Yeah. It was like a year ago. I forget what happened exactly.
You should wonder how bad she'll have to grovel.
Yeah, I know. So, and it was like, I forget what they were doing. So like something happy. It's one of those stories.
I know it's business, but still.
It was probably like one of those Vince stories or whatever, and she jumped on it. Like, oh no, it might have been a Mickey story actually.
Luckily, she has to deal with Triple H now, not Vince.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been the Mickey garbage bag story actually.
Yeah,
going by the time I saw, and she was like, "How could anyone support this disgusting company the way they treat people?" And she was talking to a fan, but whatever. I mean, I think she's going to AEW.
I think if she doesn't, she'll be a very prominent MLW.
That's another part that's starting to hurt because I've been watching a more AEW, and even Ring of Honor I checked out, and they just like have their shit together. Like Ring of Honor just started, and they have 3 women's tag teams or something. Like, sorry.
Oh, just somebody said that's where Delirious has kind of been behind the scenes. So I don't know. He's kind of getting her shit together.
Also, that hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've been saying, something feels. I don't know if I said something feels off, but like something has felt off a little recently. Like things like stories haven't been as good, and I could totally see that being Delirious.
Yeah, like why aren't we seeing Jimmy Jacobs as like an online or on-air character? Like being a valet or something. Like he's flamboyant. I don't understand. We want characters, but we have all these pieces like R.D. Evans, who's also doing backstage stuff for Impact. Like he's a very colorful character. Like why aren't we thinking about maybe trying to bring back such managers as Truth Martini from ROH?
Yeah, well, I'm guessing they're afraid anyone related to Ring of Honor is going to end up going back to Ring of Honor, which I guess makes sense. Like I kept wondering, like, where the hell's Silas Young? I was asking it for like a year, and like maybe now I'm thinking Tony was smart enough to like just sign that dude and be like, maybe don't wrestle that much. Like here's a fucking $1 million, just chill out for the year or something.
Yeah, last time I knew, isn't he like a Wisconsin boy? So like he's probably just sitting home, just probably still. I don't know if he's still collecting money for ROH because of them being. Yeah. But I don't think he's in a rush to sign with anybody until he sees what his options are.
And again, like just for Impact fans, like I just really hope you understand. Like we are huge fans. I mean, Jesus, Gary, it's like sometimes I feel like he gets mad at me when I say something bad about Impact.
I don't get mad.
But like, and again, like I was totally like, I mean, go back, look at the first video on this channel. Like, I'm pretty sure it's calling all Impact fans, and it's like the most markiest mark video like ever made by anyone ever. Like, so like, it's just Ring of Honor is back from the dead. AEW is growing. They're actually like not even terrible, like in terms of what they're doing and writing and whatever. There's just like a lot going on. I mean, MLW is basically similar to Impact right now. WWE just continues to grow, and
MLW can't catch a break either. Every time they get an outlet, they get it pulled out from underneath them, like that Peacock deal.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I guess they should have seen that coming with.
Oh, definitely.
Well, no, I guess they shouldn't have seen it coming because that's Reels, which is above them. But like, maybe Reels would have given them a heads up. I'm still confused about that because they're still going to be on Reels. I've seen a lot of fans saying they're not going to be on anywhere, that they're losing a TV deal. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's still a Reels channel, isn't there?
I think they said they're only getting a 10-week trial, and once that's done, I guess that's separate. And then once that's done, I guess somebody told me that the deal was done, and it's
with the Reels.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, 10 weeks. Oh man, so they dropped their other deal.
Oh, but they weren't impressed, I guess. Like they probably didn't, they probably didn't dress up because you made the comment a few podcasts ago that they really didn't go all out for their real estate.
Oh, that's right. I watched it. Yeah, I watched it. I watched the one episode. I watched the one episode, and there was nothing.
Very lackluster.
I watched the one episode. I was actually like into it. I think we were talking like before it started. Like, yeah, maybe we'll review this. This is something. And then like 10 minutes into the show, I was like, all right, nope. Like it's the
Well, I mean, you
same
would have thought
MLW shit that I've seen 10 years ago. They had Hammerstone versus I forget Fatu, who is
yeah,
awesome. It's probably an awesome match, but it will be like Moose versus Josh,
yeah.
basically. Like a match that every fan has seen a billion times, and like it didn't come out hot. It didn't start hot. It was just I don't know. So
Well, you just would have thought they would have brought their A game, maybe like
yeah,
some hot indie talent, or you know
yeah.
what I
No, like I remember I don't remember exactly, but it started slow, and I was like, oh, this is not a good sign. And I didn't realize they had that 10-week thing. I had no idea about that.
mean, hell, why didn't they, call up Impact, say, hey, Impact, you want to, debut on our platform, and
That might have been a problem too. Maybe they couldn't have used certain talent that was like with Impact. I don't know how any of that works, but I mean they also had Taya, right?
yeah,
Taya was pretty big with them, and so I mean this
he
is
said
kind
she
of
worked really well there. So,
yeah. I mean I feel like Taya was trying harder there, so I don't
well,
know.
I know her husband's there too, isn't he?
Yeah, I he's another. Um I'm just guessing that someone Tony has been waiting for their contracts to kind of come together at the same time where he can get both of them.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
makes
That's
sense.
my thinking because why the hell? Like, why wouldn't someone sign Johnny? You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't Johnny be in one of the big companies? I would think he would be with WWE if nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, he's
Yeah,
that big. He's that much of a name.
if I was gonna start a promotion, he definitely would be the poster boy for my.
And sorry, speaking of names, I saw a tweet. It's also the birthday of Mr. Anderson, and it made me laugh because I thought, well, if he got signed by Impact right now, would he be the biggest name in the company?
Jeez, yeah, I mean he's been all over.
He would, no?
He'd definitely be one of them. I'd put him up there with like a Joe Hendry, or you know what I mean? Like,
I think he's more known. I think he's more known than Hendry.
oh, definitely. But I mean, he has that aura to him. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm just talking like in terms of like I'm talking in terms of like star power.
oh yeah, well, yeah, I could totally see it. I mean, maybe a little less now that
Oh
he
yeah,
kind of tarnished his legacy going.
oh yeah. But I mean, still,
I'm
that's
not
like
in WA, but
still kind of my point that he still has.
yeah, he's still got a name no matter what. And
Like,
speaking of Mr. Anderson, he turns 47 today.
yeah, happy birthday! I know you're listening. um, so yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. Like lack of like everybody had RVD and like people were complaining, and I was like, shut up! Like that's a name that people will watch for. And again, go back and look at the episodes that Rob Van Dam was on. They were probably getting 100 or like 75,000 more views than they're getting now. Like you
I'm
need,
sorry. I don't know how anybody could complain about RVD. I do know there was a time where I was kind of like souring on him when he kind of like came into Impact and kind of was with us there for that one.
yeah,
I got kind of mad at him at that point, but then I kind of like forgave him later on, and then like he came back re-inspired, and it's like, man, if there's one ECW guy that still got it, it's RVD.
oh yeah, definitely. And even just like the stuff with his wife, just you know what I mean, like the
Yeah,
sexy segments, like getting people talking, and they got in trouble on Twitch or whatever it was.
yeah, which was foolish because I mean, who the hell hasn't seen that in 2023?
Yeah. Also, Rob Van Dam compared to Tommy Dreamer, no question in terms of like who's more interesting or whatever. I guess Bully is probably the biggest name on the roster right now in terms of like people that
Hell,
know him.
I find Sandman way more interesting than Tommy Dreamer.
Oh yeah, Jesus, you could bring back like anyone from ECW. Like,
What I mean?
I mentioned this to you before, but I was listening to Busted Open, and Dreamer was talking about certain draws on AEW or in AEW, and then he mentioned how himself and Bully and the Mickey match were the two draws for the latest Impact Wrestling special. And at first I laughed, but I mean, it's probably right in terms of like, Bully and Dreamer are probably the biggest names on the roster and for casual fans. But the fact that he thinks he's a draw, like compared to like the AEW guy, like he's talking like Sting and shit.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
definitely a bit egocentric.
you know what I mean? Like he's going from Sting and like MJF to himself, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's like no, and like the fact that he has like control, some power backstage, like well, he's not going anywhere. It seems like.
I mean, I like Tommy Dreamer, the man, but the persona, like, it seems like he does the same shtick when he's down and out. He brings
so
the
boring.
crocodile tears.
Oh, he's so boring. I can't even
And
talk about
when
it
you
anymore.
compare him to Bully, who's just like, you know what I mean? Like he's night and day difference. You know what I mean? He's like,
You know what I find? You know what? It's actually I never actually thought about that, but I mean these guys are so close. Like Bully can't just pull him aside, slap him in the face, and be like, "Here's what you fucking do, bro." You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if I had a friend that like, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I feel like if you were like, if people weren't listening to the podcast because of you, I would.
they
Well,
probably don't.
I would. I'd probably say something, or at least try something, or I don't
I
know.
was
I mean,
like, why the hell is a horror king doing a
yeah,
rep?
but I mean, think about it. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like people in relationships. Like, if it's like a great male wrestler who's like dating a female wrestler that can't wrestle, or vice versa.
Yeah, kind of like Eli Drake teaming up with who's that big dude that we used to have?
Oh no, oh no. Sorry,
There.
I meant like actual couples.
Oh,
Hate to say Eddie and Alicia, but I mean Eddie's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and Alicia isn't. And but then you got people like Jordan and Gresham who are like, I don't want to say equal, but like both incredible.
oh yeah, they're like,
But
pick or choose who, pick your poison. They're both
yeah,
talented.
and then but then I always wonder like how, like if you're in a couple, like if you're an amazing wrestler, like how do
Kind of
you
like
not kind
Taya
of.
and Johnny Nitro. Or
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, but like I always think like how can you, if you're a great wrestler, like how can you kind of not like get the other one to be one? You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's kind of how I'm thinking about Scott, Bully, and Dreamer right now. Like if you're like Bully's one of the greatest on the mics ever. Like he can't like push that onto Tommy a little,
yeah,
but whatever, he can't. And let's stop talking about that. It's getting me annoyed. So the Bullet Club was awesome. Chris Bay had his "I Beat Chris Sabin" shirt on.
yeah. I liked how they revisited that. That's
Yeah,
what Impact does so well. They'll revisit storylines that, like, people might have forgotten about, and then they kind of revise it or revive it. I don't know if
not.
you ever noticed that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Well, they've kind of they're starting to like
They're
run
good
out of.
with continuing
The,
when
the
they want.
problem is like they're running out of talent to do it with. But yeah, totally. When they have the ability, they do, and that's like part of why I've loved them for so many years
That's
and all
why
that.
I've been hooked for so long, is because they
Yeah,
pay attention to detail.
yeah, and this was a good one. Like I beat Chris Sabin. Kind of like his "I banged
Which
your
is
wife."
now on sale at shopimpact.com.
Kind of like a nice little plug there. Kind of like the "I banged your wife" stuff. But that was some funny shit with him. If anybody wasn't watching at the time, he was basically trying to go around banging everybody's wife. Ace Austin. It's a funny character thing. Shearer was on this show. So
Oh
that
yeah,
was,
that's when he was backstage and he interrupted Rich Swann, didn't he?
yeah, I don't know what the hell that's Richie Singh and Shearer.
Yeah.
So and then they all went to the casino, which I gotta say, I love I love and hate the casino. Like I love that it's like we don't have anything to do. Go to the fucking casino right now. Like it feels so real to me. Like I love that aspect of it. Like Shearer and Singh going to the casino because like they have nothing else going on. But also it's like I don't know.
Well, if Impact's so game for doing stuff from a casino, why don't you come on up here to upstate New York? We got a nice venue casino.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
Any of your tapings there, really cheap, I'm sure.
And use the casino thing. Like if
Yeah.
you're gonna like be more of like a casino, like people like
Yeah.
cards, like maybe show like a round of cards or something. Like people like this may be shocking, but people watch poker. People pay to watch poker in the world.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they used to have that. Was that one ESPN? They used to have that one like block where
Yeah.
we have
Oh,
gambling.
yeah, it was insane. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not as big now, but there's a thing called Poker Go. That's an app that has pretty much everything, and it's kind of like it's like an app for everything poker, which is I would guess better than wrestling apps because wrestling apps each just have their own kind of things. But let's get back to the show here. Mike Bailey versus Shane Haste. Good match, except whoa, 15 minutes.
Yep.
When did I turn on Dynamite?
Oh, it lasted 15. Might have
Yes,
been because they were going back, like going at a fast pace. It just seemed shorter.
but I don't even know Shane Haste, so he shouldn't get 5 minutes with Mr. Bailey, in my opinion.
No,
But
no.
not the worst thing. It wasn't a bad match, and Haste looked good. So
Yeah, I would like to see more of Shane Haste on the show. If creative's listening.
Had a little thing with the design. That's all I have written down is something with the design. Oh, Rhino.
Oh yeah, the Rhino showed up backstage, told the design that he would not let Callahan be corrupted by them.
Yeah, so now we're gonna get Callahan versus Rhino. I mean, I don't know. Again, like we said last week, it just feels like it's way too slow, and it's just not like I'm never like, oh, I wonder what the design's gonna do this week.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm
Well,
not.
I give him praise about I think a couple podcasts ago, and now I'm kind of backtracking on it because now like it's kind of like continuing at even like a snail's pace. And right now, I don't really have anything I'm embracing really like massively right now, other than maybe some stuff with PCO and Eddie.
Yeah.
There really isn't a lot right now. I don't know that, which is sad because I'm Josh Walking Weapon is probably my favorite guy on the roster, but Mike Bailey really hasn't had a lot to,
Yeah,
you know.
you said something like they have all pieces, but like they're not in the right places. And like I think Sammy's one. I mean, he was the goddamn wrestler of I think 2 straight years for them, and now he doesn't
But
wrestle.
I wonder too if a lot of that coming into play with him not really having a lot. I did hear he's either a free agent or he will become a
Oh
free.
Jesus, another one.
And he has not signed the last time I knew, but Eddie did resign. So if anybody didn't know that tonight,
We will have Eddie.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
2024, it will be Eddie Edwards versus Mike Jackson for 2 hours every week. So I mean, I don't know, but I don't even. That just. Gary
so
just,
kudos.
Sorry, Gary just punched me in the dick there with that Sammy Callahan might be leaving thing when I'm thinking, he's going to get ready for a big run and he's going to beat Diener. And
well, I'm just saying that, Jay, because like I haven't heard any news break on him re-signing, so it makes you wonder. I mean, he has been with us for quite a while, and his character needs.
It's weird. It's funny. I really didn't think about it though. Like they still have like a ton of good pieces, but they're just not in the right place. Like Moose is, like we said, Moose is fighting Hendry still. Like he was a goddamn world champion. He should be in the title mix or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a disaster. And
well, they have him. Problem is they have him kind of bogged down with Joe Hendry right now.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it was
not that that's a bad thing. That's a very.
Yeah, I mean. But, to be fair, we keep saying it's like it's a bad thing when we both enjoyed the match and we're enjoying the feuds. But it's like, I don't know. Like you said, like wasn't it much more fun when Moose was chasing Josh, or like the other way around? Like wasn't that feud awesome?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely give you a what's going to go on next week.
Like probably. But was that the last best world title feud?
The one that kind of stood out the most, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I can't think of anything other than that.
I can't think of a good Josh feud since he's been champ other than Moose.
I mean, he's had a great run, but the problem is I think with him is a lot of about 75% of it has been very random.
Like every match. Yeah, like every match the guy has is great. I mean. Maybe even better than great. Like he might be the best wrestler in the world, or one of them. Like he's.
I think that's the reason why it feels like it hasn't been built too good, is because every time he turns around, he either faces a New Japan talent, or he faces somebody like Kazarian who came over from AEW, and it kind of seems a little bit lackluster because it's not really all in house. Like there's no feud or.
Usually he wins, they'll shake hands, and you don't see the guy again. You know what I mean? It's it is kind of a random. And, I hope this isn't random. Kevin Knight against Kenny King. Well, more Kenny King. Got to give it to. He's another. I feel like he's stepping it up. I feel like him and Hendry are kind of like looking around and seeing like, I don't know, maybe others have gotten complacent.
Definitely.
I feel like when Kenny King comes on, like things like just turn up a notch. I don't know.
Well, what I've noticed too, like he's kind of been the shot in the arm that Impact rosters needed, kind of because he's kind of been the definitive heel here, like better than most talent has been on the roster. Like he's been standing out, and then like he's had these mini feuds with Speedball. And he's always colorful, so he's gonna bring out the best in the storyline. And like I said, I still think Kenny King, in his time in wrestling, he was always good before, but I think he's become that much better.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what he has going in the future. Maybe get him in, I don't know, some kind of stable or something, maybe with the Bullet Club. I don't know how that all works. If you got to wrestle in Japan, whatever. Speaking of Japan, so Josh is going to be fighting Kushida, correct?
Yeah.
At Rebellion, which again, that's probably going to be an amazing match. But like you just said, kind of like a New Japan random guy.
Yeah, it's another case of another. Not that it's a knock on New Japan; they have awesome talent, but
Oh yeah,
it gets repetitive when who's the new flavor of the month at this new pay-per-view this month.
and it's like Kushida's
So,
not winning. Kushida's not beating Josh.
nah,
So it's
but
like
maybe a draw, but he will never
yeah.
pin.
But to be fair, he's been a goddamn blast. I don't know how many matches we've seen with Kushida, but I mean everyone has been great, and Kenta the same way. So hopefully they can keep them around as long as possible. Another thing I worry about is Ring of Honor and Tony just stealing that deal and being like, hey, you had fun with Impact for a little bit while we were gone, but Ring of Honor's back now, and you're going to end that shit or you're not going to work with me.
Yeah.
And I think he does have the pull to get that done, I'm afraid, but we'll see. There was some backstage shit with Santino and Dango and Dreamer, and I don't really care. So, you have anything on that?
No, other than like I said though, it seems like Dango likes the role they're giving him right now. So I mean, it's always good to see that it's kind of like keeping him re-inspired to still tie one on in between the ropes. So if he's willing to stay around and give his all, I mean, he's a hell of a lot better than Matt Cardona.
Yeah. Okay. Gotta thank 411 again because they're saying what I didn't know what the hell you were talking about before about Mickey tapping out at Hard to Kill. So Masha supposedly made Mickey tap?
Yeah, I never noticed that upon when we watched the pay-per-view. I don't know if you noticed
Shit.
that. I
No.
totally did not notice it, and they kind of
Nope.
like pan scanned on her tapping. I mean, it could be perceived as she just like was tapping, but it could have been seen as that she was, I don't know, maybe
Banging.
choking her. Maybe I don't know.
Interesting. All right. Well, I like that Jordan pointed it out. Does that make Jordan bad? Does that make Mickey bad? Is Mickey? I mean, I feel like Mickey is kind of winning in shady ways now.
Yeah, it kind of makes her feel like that's kind of a like a crybaby way of saying I didn't tap, I didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, Jordan calling her out. I don't know if that's like a Jordanish. But again, I don't know. The only part interesting about this is when is Jordan going to kill whoever is left, and then who is eventually going to beat Jordan?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. You had mentioned you thought that Jordan will probably beat Mickey at Sacrifice.
Well, to be fair, I didn't realize that whole Masha thing. So
Yeah.
I have to take back that she's the worst booked wrestler ever, and maybe just one of the worst booked because this would have been. I mean, she still lost 2 championship matches before this one, so it's 2 championship losses and 3, but 1 has an asterisk at least.
Speaking of Masha, did you notice Lita recently anointed Masha with I believe it's the WCPF or E women's title?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, she totally presented it to her. There's a graphic that's circulating around with her with the belt.
Masha's just absolutely insane. Like if they let her go wild and do like,
oh, I know that's what I.
She's like a hardcore psychopath.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not letting her open it up. I mean,
and they love those goddamn what the hell those matches are always having. Jesus, I'm forgetting the name. Monsters Ball.
Oh yeah, I mean, if any woman could partake in a Monsters Ball, it'd be Masha Slim.
She can make that her thing. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maybe have like Abyss pop back in and kind of anoint her as the new whatever. Okay, then PCO we mentioned. We both love all that. We love PCO. Sorry. And that was it. The tag team title match was absolutely awesome.
Did you mention about PCO and Trey Miguel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I mentioned it quickly. Just I love everything about PCO.
Oh, okay.
It was a DQ though.
Yeah,
When
definitely.
yeah, I
Thanks.
wasn't sure if we mentioned that earlier. Eddie came in, hit PCO in the back with a shovel. I do like how I usually don't like how they I usually don't like things like that, but I like how they've been keeping the whole PCO was buried alive thing, and so now Eddie's using the shovel. And again, long term storyline. So love it. Um,
Very solid episode this past week. If they can keep doing things like that, kind of avoid those pay-per-view gaps where they have a lot of randomness. This is
here's here's my here's my biggest problem with Impact right now. Who is the number 2 contender to Josh? There's no answer, so don't even. Who's the top contender to Trey Miguel? You can answer that one because I don't know if there is.
I made this comment, like I said in the Twitter chat. I was telling people, I go, our X division is very thin.
Yeah.
We don't. And the guy was like naming these. I was like, yeah, but Speedball's been fighting in other divisions. He hasn't just been wrestling in X division. Trey is already the champion, so you can't really count the champion when he's already in the division. You know what I mean? You got to find him real in depth challengers. Somebody like a Myron Reed, or we got to bring in a
I
bunch.
mean, it's probably Crazy Steve is probably the number 1 contender if you're going by like.
Yeah, definitely after that Monsters X Division ball match.
Yeah, but I mean, my whole thing was like, I don't know who the I don't know. I feel like when Impact is killing it, like who like the number 1 contender is, who's right behind the number 1 contender, and that's like for each division. And right now, like I don't know, like everything is just kind of random, like it's whoever they want to, like they'll push them in a month and then they'll move up the card, like instead of slowly building it. And maybe it's because they don't know who the hell's sticking around.
They don't have to take any steps to get to point to point A. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, okay, you lost this week. In a month, we'll put you right back into it. You know what I mean? Like you'll be in the foray, like in a 4-way, to determine the.
Sorry, you're gonna make me do it, but Marvel. I've been watching. I'm such a freak Marvel fan, MCU, and like it's so similar to me, like how Marvel used to build characters like Tony Stark throughout multiple movies. Thor throughout multiple movies. Fans ended up learning and loving and watching them grow. And now these new characters, it's just one movie or one show, and it's like here they are. They're powerful. Just go with it. And
well,
it's kind of the same with Impact.
Did you see that this week that the new Ant-Man fell another like 67% in the box office?
One of the worst Marvel movies ever, and it pains me to say it as a huge fan. But I can be honest. Like I think I've seen so many Impact fans. I've had people arguing with me in different places, like you. Can't mention those places because I may not be allowed on such places, but whatever. Like just be real. I mean, we're not being dicks. Like we want the company to survive, and if you have to make some huge changes to survive, whatever.
Well, I'm just my thing about it all is I'm just so like red flagged over it all because like I lived through you did too. We both lived through an era where we were watching WCW and then they said some big shit's gonna go down, and then next thing we know, we see Shane McMahon in one place, we see Vince McMahon in another place, and it ruined my night for wrestling, knowing it was no longer.
Yeah, and friggin' seeing what happened with Ring of Honor and like how quickly. I mean, I don't think anyone thought Ring of Honor would be like going out of business, and then Tony got it. Now it's literally back. And
well, for me, you might better. Like they had in music, they had the day the day music died. For me, that was the day wrestling died.
Oh yeah.
I want to live through that again.
Yeah, no, I know exactly, and yeah,
because Impact was there when WCW wasn't, and they kind of like rose from their ashes, and I embraced them, and they've always been there for me. Like I remember watching with my son in our bedroom. We'd watch the monthly pay-per-view. I paid a $35, $40 a month back when that was a thing. And
that's another thing. I think I'm sure a lot of people did. I did too. But like, do you think the same amount of people are paying these days?
No.
To watch Bully and whoever and.
Well, I can tell you right now, I raised my son on Impact. I got him to moved from WWE to an Impact fan, and then like now, like he's into music Okay? Like he doesn't even watch that no more.
Well, good job, Impact. You couldn't even keep one child. Damn you. But whatever. I mean, it was a very good show this week. Like we said, it just like with Ring of Honor back and friggin' WWE killing it, and I mean, in terms of like
With me, is I figured 2023 would not really knock my socks off, but I would have thought we would have had much bigger news brewing thus far. I mean, we're
that's the thing. There's nothing like they're
halfway into the year.
They're buzzless.
Yeah.
Like there's just not. Like, I guess I'm excited for the New Japan show, even though it's taking place when Impact is taking place. So that's weird. But
it's the thing is, I won't even have access to that. I mean, yeah, I could pay for it, but
yeah,
I don't know a lot of the New Japan talent other than like Kushida and maybe Kenta if he's on the show, but I don't know anybody else. So I mean, I'm just gonna chill out that night and watch Impact. But
yeah, that's an interesting one. How many people are going to watch that? How many people are going to pay for that? Since it's kind of they're not Impact guys, they're New Japan guys. I don't know. Whatever. We're getting close to 50 minutes, and that's when I get in trouble editing. So that's about it. Unless you have anything.
Let me look here, Jay.
Any birthdays or?
Well, I do have a couple birthdays coming up from former Impact talents. One guy they probably won't want to hear too much about, but I'll still mention him. First up is under the Hogan regime was Val Venus. He turns 52 today. And on March 7th, the next day, is Bruce Pritchard. He turns 60.
What if Val Venus was a little younger? No offense to him. I'm old. I'm just saying.
So he's about my age, Jay.
Okay. Well, that's sorry.
Attitude era.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's about it for now. Hopefully we'll be back with
That's all I got this week.
Hopefully next week we have some amazing news, like we got a new deal.
We should mention one last thing about Larry D losing his house in a house fire.
Oh, yeah, terrible.
They started a GoFundMe for him. So if you research GoFundMe, you're willing to give up some of your hard-earned dough. I'm sure you appreciate it as part of
the awesome dude. That should also still be with Impact because he's fun. And that's about it. We will catch you next time.
Catch you next week, everybody.